Welcome back. This is part 3 where we're going to see examples here, programming examples. So I'm going to use first the example1.html. So I have body here empty and I have JavaScript. This JavaScript, which is in JS folder, what does it do? As the name implies, I'm calling it read XML data. So here I have a hard-coded XML. So announcements, this is the root, then this is one element, and the second announcement, and closing announcements. All right, and in the first one, I have some. So in the first announcement here or tag, I have children to, from, subject, date, and for each tag I have the actual text. Okay, so this is the data that is being stored. I'm using all this in a hard-coded text. See this string? I put here, I could put it in one long line, but I am using here for readability. I'm using a concatenation. All right, but it's a string, guys. Okay. Now, what do we do in order to create this and put it? What I want to do, by the way, I want to put it in a table. Remember? So in here, example 1 HTML, I need to put it in this body here, in a table, okay, using JavaScript. So what do? I create a parser, because in a table I'm going to use a loop. There are many rows and many columns, so I'm going to use a parser to transform or to parse this string, one-dimensional string, into an array. Okay. To do that, we use a parser. So the parser here, I call it parser, the variable. We instantiate DOM parser. Then we use that object that we created here to parse from a string. I pass this parameter, hard coded text, and the type is text XML, and the output will be what? It will be a data structure, not an array, but a tree, a DOM tree. That's why I gave it a name, XML doc tree, or I could use DOM tree if you like. But it's a document. Now, what do? I'm gonna get these two announcements, announcement 1 and announcement 2, into an array. Okay, so I'm gonna navigate through my tree to get this first one and the second one in an array, and loop through the array and display them in a table. So this is the function to create the table. So let's execute this, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. So example 1 XML, HTML. So F12 source. Right, so I'm putting here toggle point. So refresh. Remember, my document is really empty, nothing there. Now we are running. So I create a parser. Now this XML doc tree is nothing, it's undefined. Once I do the parsing, the whole text, you see this is the text, guys, hard-coded text, is transformed into a document, a tree-like, okay, a DOM tree. So when I do this here, guys, is a DOM with announcements as the root, and these are the two children of this announcement. If I go here for the announcement, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 children. For the date tag, I have 1, 2, 3 children. Okay, so it's, remember the children, guys. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pass now. Let me show you here the meaning of this document get element by tag name announcements. So if I go to my XML and want to go to the root, which is this one, announcement. So what should I do? I should do get element by tag name. What's the tag name? You have to spell it properly, and it's case sensitive, so it's announcement. even if you make a mistake there, spelling, so you have to reproduce the mistake. Announcements. Alright, and it gives me length 1 because this is gonna go through the DOM and find this announcements only one, and there's no other one. So to get into it, the first one, I have to use the array, the array 0. Remember, guys, always get elements by tag name. It's get elements, so it's plural. So it's gonna be always an array, even if it's only one element. So, oh sorry, my num is not activated. Now it is. So now I have my root. Okay, or I told you in the lecture, we prefer, I prefer sometimes to do this, document element. Document element, which is the root as well. See, it gives me the same results here. Now this is an array, okay? Sorry, this is the root. It's gonna give me the root. So to get to its elements here, I use children. Remember, guys, if you go here, you have the API. So children will give you the pure children, the pure tags. If you use child nodes, it's going to give you all the tags, including the text. If there is an enter on new line, for instance. All right. So we're going to use children. All right. So that's why here I use get elements by tag name announcement 0 children, or I could use just node element. Okay. Sorry, document element. This is replaced, the whole thing here up to here is replaced by doc element. Okay, now in the doc element I have children or child nodes, but I will work with children better because if you want to traverse and find or collect only the tags. All right, so source. So we do this and we get ourselves an array of 2 announcements. Now I'm gonna pass this 2 announcements to create my table. So I'm gonna dive into, guys, or this is step over, this is step into. I'm gonna step into, and I call my create dynamic table with these 2 announcements. Now what do I do? This is very easy. Just create a table dynamically, set its attribute, then append the table to the document here, the body. But nothing will appear because it's an empty table. Now what I'm doing is creating a tr, creating a th. This is the first heading, the tr, the table row heading. So create the th, then append document create nodes 2, because I need the 2 from, okay, the labels here, or the headings. So I create them one by one, really easy stuff. And every time I create, I append the text, or I could use it here in a HTML. Now, once I create the 4 headings, table headings, I associate them or I append them to the tr. I could use append child for each one of them, or at once. Once I do that, it's good. Now, the moment I append the child tr to my table, it's going to appear here. All right, so that's the first row. Now, I use a loop through this table, my elements array, announcement 0 and announcement 1, to get into the data. Okay, so if I go to 0, is the first announcement. I need to go to children to get all the data there. Do you see children, not children? In the children, I have to, from, and subject, and date. And in the 2, I would have to go to inner HTML to get the current data. Where is the inner HTML? It's my JS student. That's the 2. Then I will go to from, and I will get another data, and I will go to subject, and I will get the inner HTML data as well. Graded lab, the subject. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I go through all the announcements. Okay, the my array elements array. Then the very first one, first I created tr. Then announce data array, I'm using this here. I see I0 to children. Then I will be using this I could use the same name, here, but it's gonna be here something very long, okay, and I didn't want to have index and another index. So make it simple, guys. Use variables. It's good. And for your project, you have to use variables, for readability, for me to read through your code. So we created TD1. Here it's not TH, it's TD because it's real data. So TD1, TD2, same thing, TD3. For table number 4, table data 4, it's also extendable, okay? It's day, month, year. So we have to extract it here. Can you see for the date data array, I am going to the number 3 because number 3 is a date. It has got children as well. And in the children, I have the day, month, year. If I go to day and I go to inner HTML, I will find the data. Where is the inner HTML? It's 9. Day is 9, for instance. Okay, so I do that and I concatenate them in a string, day string, then I append this, create text node with day string. Okay, day string, you see, guys, is gonna be 9-04-2019. I put here space. See, dash. Some space is there, maybe in my XML, original XML information. You can go there and see it. Yes, can you see here, guys, the space here? So be careful with the space. You can use the trim as well if you want really to have a well formatted data. Alright, so I'm gonna resume. This is the first row, or this first announcement, and this is the second announcement. That's it. Alright, so that's part 1. And that's what the create table, function create table does. Again, first is table heading, and the second one is a loop to go through all the elements of your array. Alright? Okay, I'm gonna pause here and start the new one, or the next one. Okay, welcome back. So this is, we have done with number 1. So example number 1. Remember, guys, you can use node name, node value, parent node to navigate. You can create dynamically for the XML, for the HTML as well, of course. You can append a child, remove a child, whatever you did, or most of what you did in HTML as of, concerning or with regards to DOM API, you can apply it also on the XML. Now, on to the most important step here, or stuff here, which is Ajax XML. That's very extremely important, and I'm asking you this also in your project. Okay, so let's use XML Ajax. Okay, so this is the code here. XML example 2. I have a button in the body, only one button. Once I click on the button, I'm gonna dynamically upload, okay, or transport data from an XML real file. So this is a real XML file, not like the hard-coded one here, guys. So we don't use hard-coded. It's just for the demonstration. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna Control-C, Control-V this file, so make a copy and rename it. So rename read, or I'm going to create Ajax read XML data. All right, it's going to be almost the same code, but we're going to add many things. So this, in this example 2, once I click here, my Ajax read XML is going to go to this file in the server and bring it. Then use a table, use a loop, and the table to display all my data. My data are employees and are in this XML data folder. So if I open this folder and go to this file, it's this employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have 6 employees. Each employee has a first name, last name, and so on. Now, guys, it's very important to check your tags are properly formatted, properly done, case sensitive, they match. Now can you see that one is not matching the first name? That's because here I'm forgetting the name. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the name just to show you that we're gonna run into a problem if you have some error. And believe me, this XML file sometimes it's millions of lines. Usually it's generated like logs or whatever, so you have to pay attention. Okay, so I'm using this XML employee. So here instead, this is my second file. So instead of using hard coded, I'm going to remove this. I'm not going to use this. I don't need a parser because it's already parsed into a tree. So I don't need the parser. I don't need this. I don't need to make this transformation because I don't have hard text. So basically, what I need here, of course, is in the main, I need to get hold of the button. So I'm going to use query selector. And the name of the tag is button. Since I'm going to use it only once, so I'm not going to save it into a variable. So dot, and I'm going to listen to the event at event listener. Every time it's clicked, I do the Ajax XML transporting data. So let's call it XML Ajax populate table. That's my function. Now the function, this function, what do? We're gonna perform Ajax stuff, or Ajax transferring data from the server to the client side. So I'm going to create my variable, my XML HTTP object, out of what? Out of this XML, this is predefined HTTP request object. I'm not going to use compatibility for the time being. Then this XML HTTP object, I'm going to specify the way I'm going to bring my data. So it's the method using the get. I could use post, and I have to specify the URL, the resource, the location. Okay, and I have to I'm going to say it's by it's an asynchronous way of transferring data. And by the way, this is the default one. I could just omit it. Now for the var URL, I have to specify the resource, the file in the server. It's employees XML. All right. So I'm going to write here employees.xml. I have to specify the right relative path, and it's in XML data. Actually, I am in JS, which is in JS. I have to go to the parent, then go to this one. So it's gonna be, should be dot parent to XML data. But this would not work in real server. I'm gonna test it on the local server. It's gonna work. But if you test it, guys, do this and test it in the production server like Sonic, and it's gonna not work because it's gonna ask you, it's gonna tell you that the relative path is gonna be based on the HTML that is calling the JavaScript. This is for XML. All right. So once I do that, I'm gonna send my request, XML.send the request. Then I can do other things because it's asynchronous, and at the same time I will add an event listener. Okay, just listen to what the server is bringing. Okay, did our request finish or not? Is it successful or not? So we're gonna re-listen to the ready state change. Whenever it changes, this is going to change from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, once it reaches 4, we're going to trap it. All right, and whenever whenever the ready state changes, okay, we execute this function. Okay, this anonymous function. So I'm going to go here. And here, simply we do if the output is, so this dot ready state is 4. I'm not going to waste my time for the other states, and this dot status, I'm interested in situation when there is no problem, no error, so it's 200 success. What do we do here? I can get my answer. So this dot response, I can use response or response text or response XML, but here we're going to use response XML. So what do? I'm going to call, remember guys, I'm going to call this with an array of all employees. Okay, my elements array, so it's going to be this var my elements array receives here. I'm not going to give you here the answer directly. I'm going to show you how to do this, because we are going to do this, something that get tags by name or document element, just to show you how to get the array. So this is incomplete. Okay, and this of course is not the same, because we don't have to from subject date. That's from the previous one. Here we're going to do the first name, last name, title, division, building, and room. This will be the headings, 6 of them. Okay, and I'm not going to use them literally. I'm going to use or hard code them. I'm going to use dynamic way of generating the headings. Okay, as a practice. This is what you should do. So I'm going to leave only one here. So all I do here, create the table, okay, like the other one, the other example. So append the table to the body of the HTML document, create a tr, create a th, I could call it th or th, no, never mind, th1. Then th1 append the child, create a text node, not two. Here we need to use this. First name, then last name, then title. So I'm going to use a loop there, all right? So save. We're going to go here and do the debugging. This time for this one. All right, load employees. This I'm going to trap, do toggle points in the 204. Remember, once it's success, I'm going to go there and see what does this carry. So run. I suppose. So ready state is 4, status is 200. Good. I have my response XML. Can you see it's undefined? I'm going to go here and show you this. Okay. So let's write this, which is the object. Okay. This is the same thing as the XML. How do I call it? Come on. This one. So this is the this. Okay. This is the this. But I'm in a function, so the reference is unknown here, because I am inside the anonymous function, so it's not visible. When I hover, it's not showing. Never mind. Okay, so this response. Can you see response text? It gives me the whole text here. Good. You see title, division, response type. It's nothing. It should be document, but it's not. Response is this. So is response and response text. Response text are good. I'm going to open it this way better. So response and response text are the strings, but the response type and the response XML is not. That's because of this error. There was an error here, so it didn't read it properly. All right, so put here name. Good. Yes, it's corrected. Now refresh, load. if I go here and run this again, now response XML now is document. It's good. Okay, it's a document. So this dot response XML is a document, and you see it gives me all the 6 employees, but each one is employee as a tag. Okay, now if I want to get the array of all these employees, what do? I have to get to this first one, tag name, then use children. You will see. So what do? I do this response XML dot get elements by tag name, the root, which is what? Employees, and it's going to give me a collection. Because since it's one, there's only one employee's root here, I have to do the 0, and it gives me this bunch of elements. And now, if I want to get all these 6 here, okay, this is giving me the tag, okay, the element employees. So if I want to get all these guys here, I have to go to its children. So what do? Let me have some space. I have to do dot children, and now it's giving me collection of all the 6 elements. Okay, all of them here, length of 6. All right, so this is also similar. So either I do this with the 0, or here guys, or I do this. To get to the root, you can do document elements, and give you the same thing as the get elements by tag name 0. And with this, I can do also, of course, children. All right. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna put this in my code, and when I'm calling my create, I know that this is my array, or I'm gonna put it here if you like, and this will return the array, my elements array. All right, so let's save this and redo it again. This is usually how I do the coding. It's really interactive. Don't write everything and start debugging. You can do it in an incremental way. All right, so load from the server, and I'm gonna go to the ready state 4, good, and state is 200. And I'm gonna dive into this create my table dynamic. So I'm gonna use the step into, not step over. Okay, sorry, when I go here, I have to do step into to go to my function. So in the function here, I create the table, I create, I append it to the body, create the tr. This is the fun here, guys. Okay, so I need to create all my my 6. Remember my 6 fields. So let's take this stuff here, or the array, and I'm gonna work on it. Clear? So this is the array. Now it has 6 employees. Now if I go to the very first one, or second, or whatever, it's going to be the first employee. Now can I get the inside here, the first name, last name, title, to show them as table heading? Yes, I can. How do I do that? Children. Okay, then in children, if you go to 0, it's an array as well. If you go to 0, it's going to give you first name. Okay, now to extract first name, I can do node name, and I've got my formula here. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and use it as my heading, a loop to loop through. Okay, so I go here, in the first part of my code here. So to create the heading, I'm going to use var, let's call it employee record receives. Alright, so var employee record, and it receives the very first employee children. Then now what do I do? Obviously this one is going to be an array, so I'm going to use for var I going from 0 I less than this employee record, only the first record, dot length, then I plus plus, and in here I'm going to create a th, append the th, create text to the th and append it to the tr. So this is okay, but this one we don't use to. Here we have to go through this employee record, remember? Just let me check here. Children, we go to 0 and node children 0. So this is confusing here. So I dot node name, not type, okay, not in HTML. Okay, let's try this one. Otherwise, we can live modify it. Then once I create my whatever here, depending on the length here, which is 6, we're gonna append them to the tr and append tr to the table, and we're gonna check the table whether the heading is good. So let's try it again. Remove this 24. I have that one, so resume. Now step over. Now let's see this. Employee record, guys, you see the employee record is, first it's employee array, my elements array. It goes to 0, which is this, the first one. And this one I am getting all its children. The children, if you see here, is the first name, last name, and so on. First name, last name. So all this array is going to be put here. See here, guys? First name, last name, and so on. Then I'm going to go to the first name, which is I, then node name. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to put a double point here. Remove this. Resume. And once this is the tr. Okay, it's going to be appended to my table. Each time I was appending my newly created th to the tr. So now let's do this, and boom, it's good. First name, last name, title, division, building, and room. Now the second part here is to go through this one, my elements array from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and display their real data. Okay, if I go to employee 1, I have to go to the children. In the children, I have the first name, and in the first name, I have the inner HTML, which is William. So I'm going to see here in the first row someone, and the second row William. Okay. So this is good, done. Now the second one, I'm gonna use a better name, probably my elements array, my employees array, my employees array. Control C, Control F. All right, base all. Okay, Now the second step here, I'm going to take this for I see my employees array length. So I'm going to create a new tr. This is the announcement for the earlier one, and let's call this employee record. Nice. It's same thing. Okay, I'm going to remove this. Yeah, and this is good. Employee array, and in here I would need employee. No, this is gonna go through. So here I need a loop, guys. Here I need a loop for int. Int var. Don't use I. Okay, it's gonna be in conflict with this one. You're gonna have a logical error. So j going from 0 and j less than employee record length. I plus plus. And inside you're going to use not th but td and the appending. Control X. I don't need all this. I don't need this. I don't need this. All I need is a tr with a td. Alright, so create a td, whatever td. You see capital lowercase, it doesn't matter because it's HTML. Now append it. The thing is here, get the inner HTML. Not I, sorry, it should be j for this one. And this we go through td by td, okay, column by column. Once I am done with the inner loop, I go to the second employee and I go through its td one by one. Right, let's try this one. Control S. Okay. Load, run, execute that part, attach the first tr. What is it? What is it? My computer is it finite loop? Infinite loop? Okay, F12. All right. So first row headings. Now create a tr. Are you following here? So create a tr. Now let's check this one whether we are getting the right stuff. Employee record, yes, first name. Who is the first name? Jane. Can you see Jane? So XML, yeah, Jane. Second is William. Okay. So I go back here. So I create a TD. Now employee J. J is going to go from 0 to the length here, which is 6, because I'm supposed to do this one. Children, why are children there? Supposed to be first name, last name, title, division, and building and room. Okay, let me check this one. this looks wrong. No, this is wrong. So it should be this employee record. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Code. Alright. Save. Alright. So I'm gonna refresh. Sometime. It's not working. Right. I have many applications open. It's very slow. Even my F12 is not working. Getting back to me. F12, okay. Yes. Alright, so this is the first GR. Good. So the length is 6. This is from. You see this one in the console. Yeah, Jane, very good. So it's supposed to be working. Maybe there's some silly error later on. TR append. So I'm gonna put toggle point here. And there's the loop. And resume. Oh, so it's in probably an infinite loop. Yeah, it's an infinite loop. I++. Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright, you got it, guys? So I should have done the F12. I don't know why. Alright guys, so that was the problem here. Just silly mistake. With J++, when I Control S, I didn't press properly, so it wasn't saving. Alright guys, so thank you, and this is very important for you in your project. The last part of this week is gonna be JSON. So see you.